Hello, I'm Lona Walker, and I would like to talk about a song that's very personal to me. My mother was my biggest fan. She didn't know but what I was Dottie Rambo, and I never told her the difference. So, from the first song I ever wrote in high school, she was always the first person that ever heard it. It was just a rule I had. It was instant gratification and instant praise, and why mess up a good thing, you know? So after I lost her, I was concerned about the very first song that I would write with her gone and how that would work with her not being there to hear it at all, much less to be the first person to hear it. But 3 weeks before she passed away, a friend of mine stopped by, and we were in her room, and Mother, just out of the blue, she said that she wanted to sing. So we said, okay, let's sing. And I had a tape recorder nearby that I kept in there, and I was sitting on the floor, and I got the tape recorder, and I hit record. And the three of us just began to sing. And we sang everything Mother could think of. Then there was a pause, and we were waiting for her to pick her next song. And she began to sing a song about heaven. And she didn't get very far into it when she stopped, because she broke down and began to cry. And my friend there broke the silence by just talking about heaven. And I sat there and I listened to Mother and her just discussing it. And then at her homegoing, we used that same recording. And as a result, afterwards, a lot of people requested a copy of it. But I just wasn't quite ready to listen. And so it took about 3 months. And I was sitting beside my husband at the computer, who was dumping it off so we could make copies, when I heard their conversation again. And I just broke down and began to cry. He handed me a box of Kleenexes, and there I went. I was just gone. But as I was listening to them discuss heaven, I got my spark. I got my song. And what was so comforting about it was that it was a song that would not even exist had she not have been gone. I would have never written it. So she would never have heard it anyway. And therefore, it made it a lot easier for me to get over that hump of that first song that I would write without her. Because as I sat there and I listened to the conversation they were having, I realized that I had heard Mother talk about heaven all my life. But right then and there, at that moment, for her, it wasn't a story anymore. I hope you enjoy it. That's what it's titled. It's not a story anymore. God bless you.
You get a new robe. You know what my boys say? What? Mama, we're going to get new streets. We're going to have gold streets, and we're going to have a big, big house. Yes. And you know what I told them? We always party in heaven. Always.
As a child with fascination, she heard the story told, and in her imagination she could see a street of gold. She could almost hear the music, almost touch eternity, then began to tell the story of what heaven would be. As the years passed on by, the story she shared, while a tear wailed in her eye, she described what he'd prepared, until the moment when he beckoned, and she drew her final breath. At her first glimpse of heaven, I'm certain that she said, it's not a story anymore. not a fairy tale or dream with some wonderland type thing. It's not an ancient mystery, but it has become reality. And it's well worth waiting for. It's not a story anymore. When I relay this story that my mother used to tell, as she walks the streets of glory, I still know quite well that beyond a stream that's glistening, I will see her again. If those I've left behind are listening, they'll hear us say in unison, it's not a story anymore, like I've told many times before. It's not a fairy tale or dream with some wonderland type theme. It's not an ancient mystery, that it has become reality. And it's well worth waiting for. It's not a story
you cannot imagine how wonderful it is